Hello everyone, it's Zanfess from pokerimania.com and welcome to my coaching. I'm gonna do 1.5 hours here tonight in English, and it's been a while since my last English coaching, so sorry about that. But anyways, actually this coaching was supposed to take place a week ago on Monday, but then I fell sick and had a pretty high fever and a headache, so I couldn't do it. So sorry about that as well. But here I am, and actually gonna 3-bet this guy. I have 4 tables up and running, and 3 of these are 6 max tables, meaning there's only 6 players each. And I'm not gonna do a continuation bet here because the board actually hits this guy more often than me, I think, and I might still have the best hand as well. I'm just gonna flat call here. So yeah, this guy keeps on betting, and actually, since he bets so small, I think he might have some real value. But if he had like bet like 30 euros, it would maybe seem like more of a bluff, so I might catch it, but no, I'm gonna fold. So yeah, there's one full ring table, which means there's 9 seats available, and yeah, I basically took it just to check if there's any fish playing there. And yeah, the chat is on pokerimania.com/forum, so feel free to join, ask me some questions. And actually on the bottom left table, I already lost 1 stack to a guy that already left. It was my pair of kings, pocket kings, versus his pocket tens, and he hit the set on the turn, and I couldn't fold anymore, of course, so it was a 3-bet pot. So yeah, starting off with little losses, but hopefully we can catch up. So yeah, I've been feeling pretty sick for the last like 3 weeks already, I think. So there was like few days between when I didn't have any fever, but then the fever came back. And yeah, I've been pretty fucked up actually with high fever and headaches, but it's getting better now. So I was thinking about going back to the basics with this coaching, meaning that I'm gonna try and explain everything I do pretty thoroughly and in a way that new players or people new to poker can hopefully understand something as well. So for the more experienced players, it might seem frustrating if I go on about some basic rules or something like that, but yeah, try to bear with me. I'm gonna open this bucket 4s here. Also, I'm alone at home with my son, so if I hear like crying, because he went to bed like half an hour ago, so if I hear crying, then I'm gonna have to go AFK for a while. But hopefully he will sleep tight. Also, I have to mention there's a bit of delay on the stream, just to prevent people from exploiting. So yeah, I don't mind having other Finnish players or whatever country players on the same table. Mainly because the delay is almost 2 minutes long, so no one should benefit from watching the stream and playing with me at the same table. But also the delay is pretty long, so if you ask any questions about some specific hand, please type in the hand that you're talking about, so I know. Because when you when you ask a question, then the hand is already like done 2 minutes ago. So yeah. Chip Bleeder asks if I normally open like Jack 6 offsuit from the button. I open it if there's like a tight player on the big blind. Then I just open, because I usually open from the button. I open with the min raise. So yeah, if the guy well, this is interesting. This guy is a fish, but it's 63 big blinds, so I'm not gonna call, even though I think I might be pretty decent shape most of the time, but it's too much variance for my tastes. No, I'm just gonna go ahead and fold. I've been playing pretty tight here, and this guy doesn't seem like that loose dude. So he actually folds a lot on C bets as well. So this guy came in on the middle of the round, so he has like 2 random cards. I'm gonna try and steal the dead money on the table. Well, here we flop trips. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and lead, because it's a limped pot, so no one has the lead. And on those kind of multi-way limped pots, there's often at least one dude with an ace, so they're not gonna fold their ace. On that chip leader's question about that Jack 6 offsuit, my standard open on the button against a tight player on the big blind. Actually, if there's like a player on the big blind, for example this non-fur dude, he folds 79% of the time against steel from the button, if he's at or against like a cutoff or button when he's at big blind. So if he folds like 80% of the time almost, then I basically open 100% of my hands, because it's just like printing money if he folds that much. Well, our first pair of aces for tonight. Standard min raise from the button. Or actually there was one limp here, so I should have made it a bit more. That was my mistake, I didn't notice there was a limp here. But seeing that, I'm gonna mark this guy as a fish because he limped. And I misclicked the check. Sorry about that. No, not a terrible play at least, but yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and start betting now. So yeah, when poker players are talking about fish, that means that there's a player who's like playing badly or like doing mistakes and stuff like that. So they're often referred to as fish players, meaning that those are the type of players that you want to play against, and the kind of players that is like the easiest targets for good players to try and win some money from. Uh, I do play on 24H poker at the moment, uh, only on 24H poker, but I haven't played for that long, so I have some population reads, uh, but basically because usually when I play at around like 9:30 a.m. So it's pretty early, and I play for like 6 hours or 4 hours or something like that. So it's a pretty early time for games, and on smaller networks, it tends to be a bit hard to find good tables. But on 24H Poker, kind of varies. I've had like super nice tables in like 5 minutes, even though it's that early in the morning, and there's a lot of fish playing. But sometimes there's been like days when I open up the site and I get like two tables up, and they're pretty rocky tables, meaning that there's a lot of regular players who don't like do that many mistakes, and so there's not much value sitting on those tables. And then it might take like half an hour almost to get more tables up. So kind of depends on the day. But yeah, for now I'm playing on 24H Poker, and we'll see about it in the future if I'm having trouble finding enough volume. Then of course I might have to change the site. And I'm playing through Poker iMania, meaning that I have like 30% rake back on uh, on 24H Poker, which is available to everyone who registers through Poker iMania. Here I start stealing with Ace 4 offsuit, and this guy donks. Actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and call this donk, seeing that I have the backdoor not flush draw, and he seems to be kind of a fishy player. So now he checks. I'm happy checking behind because I still have my ace high, which might be good a lot of the time, and I don't want to like turn my hand into a bluff when there's basically no need. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and go to showdown and check what he has, and he had ace with a better kicker, just a random donk on the flop. Actually, I'm gonna mark him as a fish as well. Chip Leader asks about my steal strategy. With only 60 hands, it's about 10 times he's been in the blinds. Yeah, but still, I still like to steal a lot with a lot of hands. I think my button steal is like 70% or something, and my small blind steal is like 60% or something. Just simply because people fold way too much on the blinds, and on these stakes, NL20, NL50, they don't adjust so fast. So it basically they Yeah, I guess I have to call this. So you can exploit a lot of people, a lot of regulars by stealing a lot. That's what I'm trying to say. And this guy just keeps on barreling, and well, it's the first time he 3-bets, but I have only 10 hands, so the turn is a blank card, so I guess I have to fold. There's some cards on the turn that I might like to shove, but then again, I think I would like him to have a little bit deeper stack to gain more fold equity on the turn. But yeah. I play basically these same stakes on regular basis. So, well, depending on the action on the website, then I might have to play like NL20 tables and NL50 tables like I'm doing now. So if there's not enough tables, then I will have to open smaller stake tables, of course. Actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and call this because it's gonna be a family pot. Here we get the free flop, and we flop the top pair, and then we turn the trips. So now I'm gonna just go ahead and start betting. This guy plays with a weird stack size and seems kind of fishy. So here we flop the middle pair. So let's just check and see what the other dudes do. This guy calls my turn bet, so I'm just gonna go ahead and try and get some more value. Here we have the middle pair as well. And he called, so we got like at least some value from his pair of sevens. So now we have trips here as well, so let's just bet. 4 is a bit too much, maybe. Just gonna limp my small blind here. If I had nothing on the table, then I might bet this ace card, because I was the stealer here and I played this pretty weak. But since I have actually showdown value on the table, then I don't need to turn my hand into a bluff, and I'd rather go to showdown. Actually, I might have called that if these guys would have had like a bit deeper stacks. Chip leader, ace queen, it was the same guy, yeah, but before with the ace 9 offsuit hand, he didn't barrel the turn. He stopped barreling the turn, or he only donked the flop and then checked the turn and checked the river when he had basically ace high. So now that he kept on barreling on the turn, then I just decided to fold. Of course, if he's like a thinking player, then he might think that I have a lot of ace high hands on the turn, since he saw me call with ace high the previous time. But I don't think he thinks that much. Good evening to Kick Lion. Welcome. Oh, crap. This guy is pretty tight. Only 13 hands though. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and call. Have to be really careful when playing different stakes I have like 3 different stakes here: NL10, NL20, and 2 tables of NL50. So yeah, I have to be really careful with the bet size, because on NL10 I might go like, yeah, €1.50. It's like standard, but actually it's like 15 big blinds on NL20, NL10. So this guy does a C bet. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and call this. I have the backdoor nut flush draw and gut shot straight draw. Or actually, I would have liked even more to raise that on the flop. But yeah, now I'm just gonna go ahead and fold on the turn. Raising the flop gives me the chance to represent a set of fours and king queen, which are both on my range, on my pre-flop calling range. So it's a decent strategy as well. So here we get pair of tens, and this guy opens for, well, actually this guy limps, so I'm gonna mark him as a fish. It's usually limping on limping when there's no one who has like done anything yet is not that good of a strategy. So yeah, we're three-way, and this guy does the c-bet on a very dry board in three-way action. So, well, I guess I'll just, oh, wait a minute. Oh, well, I'll just fold, yeah. Basically, when we're three-way and there's a fish on the pot as well, I tend to believe when players c-bet quite often, because I don't think they're gonna c-bet. Well, they might c-bet something like ace queen that didn't hit, or something like that. But yeah, I normally tend to give maybe even too much respect on those kind of c-bets. But also, we kind of end up in a crappy situation if we start calling those too often, because it's pretty easy for the guy who's opened from like or isolated from a pretty early position. It's pretty easy for him to start barreling us down, because he basically knows that we either have like a weak showdown value or a set maybe. Neo asks, it's a good question, on what kind of boards does c-betting doesn't make sense. Well, basically, if you're constantly thinking about your enemy's ranges, and I'm just gonna isolate this dude. And when you put your enemy on a certain range, and then the flop hits his range pretty hard, then it's usually just pretty easy to not c-bet. Here we got the money from the fish here, who played king 4. So yeah, well, let's try to make up an example. When you open from early position, and well, let's say the button calls, calls your open, and the board is like 5, 6, 7 with a flush draw or something like that. You have ace king. Those kind of situations are usually the ones that I try not to c-bet. Basically, because if the guy calls your early position open, then his range is like all the pocket pairs. Maybe he has like king queen in there, or queen jack suited, or something like 8-7 suited, or 10-9 suited, or something like that. But anyways, oh crap, I should have bet there, but yeah. Uh, it a board like 5, 6, 7 with a flush draw basically hits his range pretty well, considering that if you do a c-bet, he's never gonna fold any of his pocket pairs. He's not gonna fold his sets. He's not gonna fold his open enders with a pair on the board. He's not gonna fold any flush draws. So there's a lot of hands that hits his or he has in his range that hits the board at least in some kind of way, and that he's not gonna fold to your c-bet. And basically the only hands that will fold to your c-bet are the ones that you already have the lead on. For example, if you have the ace king hand and he has king queen without any flush draw, then he might fold that, but you already beat that hand. So that's not a good place to do a c-bet. Also, like 10-9 suited without hitting any flush draws, he's just gonna go ahead and fold that, maybe. Well, he has like overcards with a gut shot, but still, or queen jack or something like that. He might fold those kind of hands which you already beat, but he's never gonna fold anything that hit the board. Hopefully that made some kind of sense and you were able to picture the situation I was talking about. This guy bets over the pot, so I'm just gonna go ahead and fold my pair of deuces. Chip Leader asks if I ever bet for information. I don't think I do. Usually when I start betting, I do it either for like value, or there's like a situation where I'm completely sure that this guy doesn't have anything, and by doing like 2 barrels or 3 barrels I get him to fold his hand. So then I just start betting, and if he calls the first bet, then of course I get more information that way, but I don't do the bet for the information. I do it with a plan to make him fold on the later streets. So if he like check calls the flop on, or like if he's like the aggressor pre-flop and there's 3 players on the flop and he checks, so he doesn't c-bet, and I start thinking that okay, he doesn't have a good hand, or he didn't hit the board at all, so I'm just gonna go ahead and stab the board even though I don't have anything. Actually, this is a kind of a board as well, which I don't c-bet, because the jack hits his range pretty well, and I do have like an ace high with a backdoor flush, not flush draw, so I don't really need to c-bet. He checks again. I'll check behind. And he bets, and we get showdown values, so of course we call. But he got his straight with the same card. Only 40 cents worth of value from me though. really small squeeze here, so I don't think anyone's gonna fold here. Of course, we're gonna call. It's gonna be a family pot, so let's hope for a 9 on the board. No 9, and it's a family pot, and this guy just c-bets. It's a pretty dry board as well, and one of these guys behind me might have a jack as well, so it's an easy fold for me. Actually, these guys might have like a pair of 5s and deuces as well. So yeah, basically we were only set mining with our pair of 9s there. No problem, Neo. Thanks for the good question. Yep, turns out he had a pair of queens and this guy had the jack, which he overplayed pretty terribly, because he lost all his money on that board, and he only had the top pair with a poor kicker. The kicker is the card that you have with your paired card. So for example, on that hand, we can check it out again. On that hand, he had the top pair on the flop when the flop was 5 jack deuce. He had the top pair with his jack, but his kicker was only 9, so it's pretty low kicker. So thinking about it, this guy could have like king jack or ace jack, and this guy's in trouble. So there's a lot of hands that he's gonna lose against with that kicker. And we're against this Benki dude again. Not a nice card for the turn, because he keeps barreling and the king hits his range, I think, because he might bluff the flop. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and call that as well. The 9 doesn't help us, because the board is paired. But it's a steal situation, so he has like 86% range anyway, so I'm just gonna go ahead and check call all the way. And he hit the queen as well, but we had the higher kicker. So there you see the way the kicker works. This is a limped pot. Actually, this guy limped on the button, and I could have isolated him, but there was a fishy type of player on the big blind, which I wanted to get along to the flop. Here we have a pair of 8s, and actually this is a situation where I prefer calling, because I want this dude to come along as well. I don't want to raise here and make this guy fold, because this is the guy that's the easiest money on the table. Of course, this makes it a bit more hard for us to play the hand, because we don't have the position, meaning that we always have to act first, and our hand is vulnerable against 2 players. So now there's 2 overcards, and he donks again. But then again, he did donk before, and he had the top pair with his queen 5. So I just basically I'm in a situation where it's really hard for me to check call 3 streets. So I decide to fold right now. I don't think this guy would bluff here. at all, especially with this sizing. If he bluffed, he would have bet like 50 cents. So actually, I'm just gonna fold. It's pretty weak play from me, but yeah. Well, even though the fish is on the button, I'm gonna open this because the guys on the blinds are a bit more tight. Let's see. This guy raises. I'm just gonna go ahead and fold. The raise is pretty big as well. Our neighbor is. Yeah, I don't know if you heard that, but our neighbor is like really driving his motorcycle on the yard, so might push through to the stream, the sound. Chip leader asks on the top right, ace 8 hand. I guess that was the hand that I explained at least somehow why I didn't see bet. Yeah, basically because it was button versus big blind, and against this dude. So he has a pretty wide defending range against button, I guess. So this kind of board, jack high board, hits his range better than mine. So again, we're in a situation where if I c bet with my ace 8 here, he's never gonna fold a jack. He's never gonna fold a 7. He might not fold like even like a 10-9 type of hand with a gut shot straight draw. He might not fold a pair of 6s or 5s or 8s or 9s or 10s if he has those in his range. So even might not fold a better ace high. So if he has like ace 10, he might call. So just because he seems like a loose player and he has never folded against the c-bet before. So kind of a situation where if I c-bet, I'm just gonna get called by better hands, and the worse hands are just gonna fold. So I really don't see the point in c-betting basically. Against a mini raise, a mini 3-bet, I'm just gonna call because the odds are amazing. So if he has like king queen here, 2 overcards but no flush draws or anything, he might fold that, but we win against that anyways, so there's no point. And now we have to call against this dude. Not a nice turn card. He's pretty deep, so I don't think we have to play for our whole stack. And he keeps betting pretty small, so I guess I have to call this one as well. So yeah, basically by c-betting we make the pot bigger, and only, well, the hands that we beat are gonna fold, and the hands that we don't beat are just gonna call. So that's not that good of a game plan. But by checking, we keep all his crap in the range that he has, and we keep the pot smaller, and yeah, we get a free card, and I like checking behind better on that situation against that dude. Small value there, so I'm just gonna call, and he shows his king queen that he hit on the turn, so a bit unlucky for me. Chip leader asks on the bottom left with pair of eights. He donks 60%. Yeah, he donks a lot. The problem is that it's pretty easy for him to donk the turn no matter what because of the way the flop came out. So I'll show it again. Pair of eights. There we go. So again, a huge 3-bet from a guy that hasn't 3-betted before. Only 30 hands history, but anyways, I'm gonna fold. So I think he donks every ace here. He donks every king here. Just gonna 3-bet this. He donks like maybe queen jack, queen 10, stuff like that. Maybe like some combos of sevens as well. But still, it's really easy for him to keep barreling on the turn and the river if we just call. The thing is, in situations like this, if I had like ace jack now instead of my pair of eights, I would just keep like check calling, because I would know that that this guy is like he tends to bet and bet a lot. We only saw him shutting down on the turn once. All the other times he has like kept betting. Of course, those are the times that we saw him also having something. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I should have just called the flop and see if he keeps betting on the turn. But seeing the flop and thinking about if there's like a queen or a jack or a 10 on the turn, even like a 9 might be a bad card for us. Then yeah, there's like a lot of stuff we have to dodge, and it's pretty easy for him to make us fold if he so desires. Then again, if the flop was like a bit more dry, let's say like a 10 4 4 or something like that, then I might have kept calling. But yeah, now that dude left, so too bad. And while I'm explaining all these things, I realize that I've folded some hands that I might have called if I hadn't focused on explaining other stuff. But yeah, that happens while coaching. It's no big deal. This guy folds to 3-bets, or has folded to 3-bet at least once, so during 40 hands. So if he steals, I'm just gonna go ahead and 3-bet. This guy seems to be a limping kind of a customer, so just gonna go ahead and mark him as a fish. And non-fer calls. I'm just gonna go ahead and c-bet against non-fer. I'm not sure I even like this c-bet because the board actually hits his range pretty well again. But he folds to c-bet 71%, so it's pretty easy for me to like print money because he just calls when he hits and folds when he doesn't. Actually, this card is pretty decent for us to keep barreling, because now when we keep barreling, and if he keeps calling and the turn is fourth club, then I'm just gonna go ahead and do a third barrel like now. So it's pretty easy for me to make the third barrel, because obviously we have turned flush draws on our range when we keep barreling like that. And voila, he folds. This guy steals from the small blind 42% of his range, so I'm just gonna go ahead and 3-bet. Calling is fine as well. If he had like a little tighter range, if he had like maybe 29 or 30% or something like that, I might like just call. But seeing that he has like 42% range, I think I just prefer raising. And he does the first 4-bet I've ever seen him done, and I have 230 hands from him, so I guess this hand is a bit too weak to shove with this information. He actually 3-bets really little as well, so I'm guessing his range there is pretty tight. And even though if he has like hands such as king queen or something like that in his range there, it's still just a coin flip. So basically we're in a situation where we are either flipping the coin or we're being really dominated, in my opinion. Chip leader asks about the pair of eights that he donks his air as well. Sure he does, yeah. And that's why I kind of if we were like 100% sure that he won't barrel the turn without a pair, then I would call the flop. But I'm not 100% sure he would do that, so I just decided not to call the flop. Here we're just set mining with threes, and I'm just gonna go ahead and fold when we didn't hit the set. Neo asks, in general, when do you play check raise or re-raise on the flop? Actually, check raising and re-raising the flop, I don't do that too often. I guess I should do that a bit more often, because I really enjoy like slow playing my big hands, and well, sometimes I let's see. This guy from the button, I don't think he's 3-betting that much. Yeah, fold is best. So where was I? Oh yeah, check raising or re-raising the flop. Actually, sometimes I do like to re-raise just with like a bluff. So if a guy opens from the early position and the flop is like small cards, I've just called from like the button, and the flop comes out like 4, 5, 6 or 5, 6, 7 or stuff like that. Then I might just check raise with king queen or ace jack or something like that I had called with, or not check raise but re-raise, because it's pretty easy to represent like a really strong hand on those kind of boards. I'll just fold that. This guy raises, so it's an easy fold. And here we're gonna raise a pair of jacks. There we go, second pair of aces for tonight. With the first pair we won a small pot, if I remember correctly, so I guess it's our turn to lose now. Also, I do, of course, re-raise my sets as well if the board is like really draw heavy, and there's like especially if there's like a lot of players on the pot. I'm just gonna take the free flop against this guy, and we hit the ace, so he calls, so I'm just gonna start pumping money from him. Let's just open this as well. These guys fold pretty often against steals, so yeah, let's just limp our small blind there and mark him as a fish. Well, I wasn't expecting that, since I just watched that this guy doesn't raise that much, so he's very likely to just check. But he raised or bets, so I'm just gonna go ahead and fold. I expect him to have a decent hand now. Would have been really interesting to see what he had. Awesome questions, by the way, guys, so keep it up. This guy posts a dead blind, so I'm gonna go ahead and start stealing it. Of course, we have a pretty decent hand as well. Let's just oh, this is a bit marginal. I guess these guys are pretty tight, so let's open. And on the ace high board, I'm just gonna go ahead and well, actually this guy doesn't seem to fold against c-bets, so I'm just gonna go ahead and check. He has basically all the pocket pairs in his range, so getting the king on the turn makes me want to call some bets, and now that he bets only one big blind, of course we're gonna call. Chip leader asks my pair of jacks opening size on the early position. Actually, I'm pretty sure I have the lead now, but I don't think he's gonna give me any value if he has like a pair of fives. So let's just check. Full ring table. Well, yeah, basically I just open with the same sizing that I do with on the 6-max tables, because I don't play full ring tables that much. So yeah, it's just an autopilot basically. My bet size when going to full ring tables as well. Opening with the smaller bet size actually enables you to open with a bit wider range as well. And if the table is tight, then it's of course a good idea to open even from earlier positions with a wider range. But yeah, that's something that I don't even do myself that well often enough, I guess. I'm not gonna call. Seems like a pretty tight player. And here under the gun raise and a re-raise from the middle position. So unless there's like a cold call from this guy, then I'm gonna fold. Neo says that's interesting, but you could also float instead of re-raising him on the spot. Let's see now. Actually, I'm gonna isolate this fish here and call this with my open ender. When do you prefer a float over re-raise? Well, actually, if the flop is like, how do I say it? If the flop is a bit more dry, the board is a bit dry, then I might prefer just floating. But if the flop is really wet and draw heavy, then I like re-raising with air and with sets. Chip leader seems to be a bit upset about me not c-betting on the ace high board. Let's see that again. I think it was this table. Nope, it wasn't that. Was it here? This is the biggest issue about having a delay on the stream. Just gonna c-bet this. I think it was a situation where we had king queen and there was an ace high board and wait, I think it was this table because we were isolating the fish who limped. Yeah, this one. So again, well, basically we could c-bet here. This guy cold called our isolation bet out of position. But yeah, we could c-bet, but it's not the only option we have, in my opinion. I'm just gonna go ahead and call this. And seeing how the hand went down, actually he checks. A bit surprising, but actually I'm gonna give him this first street and I'm gonna slow play my hand a bit. Our hand is really nicely hidden right now because we only called his 3-bet. So now he bets and I'm gonna call. And he checks. If he has like an ace queen, ace jack type of a hand, or well, queens are just gonna go ahead and fold. I'm gonna bet really small. He calls. If he had ace queen, then I might have missed like €1 of value. But against the other hands, I think that's pretty maximum that we're gonna get. He had the ace queen, so yeah. So yeah, back to the hand I was talking about. Sorry about this confusion all the time. So yeah, the flop is ace 3-7. So if we c-bet, he's gonna fold hands like this, pretty much, unless he has like a flush draw, which he didn't have. But what's the point basically? Because we have the king high and we beat his hand. Well, basically the only hands that he might fold that we don't beat are like small pairs, like pair of fives or sixes or something like that. He might fold those, which makes the c-bet a bit better. But then again, he might not fold those. And seeing that this guy was actually sitting here and he left, but I remember him having a fold to c-bet stat of like 30% or something, which kind of indicates that he might like to call at least one street, like a standard c-bet on a flop like this, which we usually, or a lot of players usually c-bet like 100% of their range. So the c-bet doesn't mean that they have an ace. They're simply c-betting it because of the ace on the board. So players like this might just go ahead and call it with their pocket pair. Of course, this enables us to keep barreling on the turn and the river if we suspect him having a wide range here. But since if we c-bet here and he calls, then he also has all the ace hands in his range, and it's really hard for us to start c-betting and hoping he's gonna fold his ace as well. So it's easier for us, in my opinion, to just check behind. We have the king high, so it's pretty decent hand. We basically are only beat against ace hands, which we are beat anyways if we even c-bet, and then we're beat against pocket pairs, which are probably not gonna bet anyways on the turn. They're just gonna try and get the showdown as cheap as possible, so we're gonna get free cards as well, and we have our outs are pretty much alive against those pocket pairs. Actually, I should have opened that as well, seeing that this guy folds and well, like here, this guy folds 83% and this guy folds 73% against steals from the button. So yeah, I'm just gonna steal with every hand I have, basically. And this kind of board actually doesn't hit his range that well. He might have like ace highs and king highs on his range, queen highs, jack highs even. So he doesn't have much that connects with this board. So I'm gonna go ahead and c-bet, and if he decides to call, I'm gonna keep barreling, because if he calls, he has a lot of ace high hands as well in his range. This one I'm gonna have to call, because this non-fur guy is like sitting in two tables behind me, where I've stolen from him quite a lot. And yeah, he c-bets. I'm just gonna go ahead and call. It's a pretty tough card for us. Maybe it's pretty easy for him to c-bet this card as well, or keep barreling, I mean. So yeah, I'm just gonna I'm basically forced to fold here. This guy came in the middle of the round, so there's a extra blind there, but this guy already isolates, so I'm gonna fold. Yeah, I'm gonna open this as well, seeing that these guys are pretty tight. Actually, these tables are not that valuable at the moment. Pretty tight players, at least in this table. And these guys fold against steals as well. I have almost 200 hands from this Guram dude, and he folds like 86%, so I'm gonna steal with 100% range. Yeah, let's steal here as well. We have the nut flush draw, and he checked behind the flop, so basically I'm pretty sure he doesn't have that much. Actually, this spot is pretty nice for us to raise, because I don't think he has much, and it's pretty easy for us to, like, we have equity as well if he decides to call. I think he might have like ace king, ace queen some part of the time, which beats us, so that's why I like raising. I get those hands to fold pretty often. Oops, went to sit out. Here we have the nuts, so just gonna go ahead and try to get some value. And I'm gonna raise or steal with any hand. Actually, not that nice of a board. He connects pretty well against his range. Although he likes to fold to c-bets a lot, so I guess I'll take a stab at it and pull the brakes if he calls. So yeah, his fold to c-bet percent is here, it's 100, and well, only 56 hands, so that's why it was a bit risky to c-bet. Oh, your cat jumped on your keyboard. Okay. On the bottom left, why not 3-bet bluff against the button isolation with the Jack 9 suited? Actually, that's not a bad idea. Seeing that this guy is actually, well, I remember this guy being a bit tighter, but his stats are like starting to loosen up a bit. So yeah, actually pretty decent idea. Although things I don't like about it is that I haven't noticed him like isolating that often, and with that huge sizing he did, and also he doesn't like folding against like 3-bets. So yeah, and he had the position, so we might end up in a situation where the pot is huge and he just flat calls the 3-bet bluff. Yeah, why not? Neo asks, does it make sense to bluff c-bet a monotone board, one color board? Actually, that's one of the best boards in my opinion to bluff c-bet. Due to the fact that if the opponent doesn't have one card of that specific like color, he will just automatically fold pretty much. So it's pretty pretty easy to like bluff c-bet on those kind of boards, because it's well, on those kind of boards villains tend to play their hands pretty face up, so it makes it easy. And yeah, you get a lot of folds when they don't have the draw, flush draw. Yeah, why not? Actually, this guy has 3-betted me like 3 times in a row, I think. So if he 3-bets me again, I think I might have to try something funny against him. So this guy paid his blinds again in the middle of the round. So now I'm gonna go after him. Actually, with a decent hand as well. Whoa, time flies. We have like 20 minutes left, so. Yeah, let's see bet here. This is a nice spot to see bet in my opinion, because he just cold calls our isolation, which means he has like a king 10 suited, king jack suited on his range that we beat easily, and he might have like a pair of jacks, pair of tens, something like ace jack with a ace club or something like that, which he might be tempted to check the turn card. So check it out. So I like to see bet on those type of situations. Also might have like a queen jack, queen 10, something like that, got shot with a backdoor flush draw or something like that. So a lot of combos which he would like to keep playing the hand with. Yeah, he was ISOing the blind poster, so he might have a pretty wide range, but we can't like assume that though, in my opinion. See, well, the guy has changed now, so, but we haven't seen him isolating blind posters previously. At least I haven't noticed that. So if it's the first time, we can't assume he has like a really wide range. Of course, the range could be wide, but not necessarily. And the isolation is pretty big in size as well. It was like €3, I think. And the fact that he doesn't like folding against 3-bets. So I don't mind actually folding in that spot. If the guy had like if I had like 300 hands from him, and I had seen him isolate before, uh, or uh, or he had like a fold to 3-bet percent of over 60 or 65 or something like that, then I would have definitely raised, or at least the raise would have been a way better solution. What's your 3-bet range, button versus blinds? Uh, Assuming you mean that I'm on the blinds and button steals. Depends on the sizing the button uses, I guess. Because if I'm on the big blind and the button just min raises, which is pretty common nowadays, I use it as well on the button, the min raise. Then it's pretty lucrative to just call, because you have to call like only one big blind to be able to play for a pot that's like 4.5 big blinds, I guess. So so yeah, you only have to like win the pot, or you have to have like a 22% equity basically, which you have almost all the time. So against min raise and you're on the big blind, it's really nice to just call. Of course, you have to have some post-flop skills to not just throw your money away post-flop. And you have to consider the fact that you're not going to be able to realize your equity every time you call. So even though you call with, let's say, 10-6 offsuit, you probably have that 22% or over equity against the stealer, but you're not gonna go to showdown every time. So so yeah, you're not gonna be able to realize that equity every time. So something to keep in mind. But I do like to call from the big blind against like min raises, and then if there's like the other type of players who like to steal with a big sizing, which is like 4 big blinds or 3.5 big blinds, which I consider to be a pretty large steal sizing from the button. So against those type of players, I do like to 3-bet a lot, due to the fact that there's more money to win with the 3-bet, and basically I myself think of the I actually don't know why I didn't do a late c-bet on the king on the turn. Actually, that was a mistake, but due to my explaining probably. So yeah, so I actually think of it as a bit of a leak if you steal from the button with like four times the big blind sizing, because it's really easy for people to start 3-betting a lot against you, and you end up folding a bit too much. And from small blind, it's a bit different, because I don't like calling against raises or against like opens from the small blind. So if I cut off opens or what? A pot size bet? Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and call and let him hang himself. Please keep betting. Now his sizing changes a bit, but it doesn't really matter. Well, actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and raise here, I guess, because it seems like he has might hit the 9, or I'm just gonna min raise actually. Just want to keep him along with the ride. He calls, so it's fine. No straight draws that get to the end on the river. He might have straight, of course, on the turn, but I don't think so. I think he has like something more of like 9-10 or something like that. He checks, so it's value time for us. I think 16 euros is fine. Might not be able to get a call from a 9, but the jack should call at least. Well, at least we pumped some money out of him on the turn. So yeah, from small blind against steals, against like cutoff or button steals, I do tend to either fold or re-raise. But then again, against like early position open, then I tend to call a bit more often, even though I will not have the position post flop. And on limped pots, if I'm on small blind, I guess I limp the small blind quite often as well. If there's like 2 or 3 limpers already in front of me, and it's my turn, and I only have to pay like half of the blind to get in, then yeah, I'm gonna get in with a pretty wide range, because yeah, the odds are like really good. a raise and a re-raise, so let's just fold. So the last 10 minutes, if you have anything on your mind, then just feel free to ask now. And I have no idea when I'm gonna do the next English coaching, so hopefully this has been useful, and at least the questions have been really nice, and it's been fun to try and answer those questions. Yeah, Chip Leader says that he's not used to my open raise sizes. He opens like 3.5 times from under the gun, and 3x from middle position, and 2.5 from cutoff, and then the min raise from the button. Yeah, it's just like whatever suits your play style, I guess. Considering that looking at my stats from this session, actually, I would say that it would have been a bit more beneficial for me to use your sizings, because when opening with like 2.5 from yeah, I'm just gonna go. Let's just isolate for fun. So yeah, if I open from under the gun like 2.5 times the big blind, then I should open a lot wider than I am right now. So considering how tight I've been from the early positions on these tables, like you can see, under the gun raises 0, 0. Then wow, he just limp called like 14 big blinds. It's just weird, man. I guess I'll just stay out of this. So yeah, being this tight on the early positions that I have been this session, then I definitely should have used a bigger sizings when I do open. So opening smaller sizings kind of enables you to play a wider range, which I haven't done. So kind of a weird situation going on here. But I haven't played poker at all in like 2 weeks due to being sick. So in my defense. Actually, last Monday, a week ago on Monday, when I was supposed to do this English coaching, I was so sick that I had to, or my wife had to call the ambulance, and I went to the hospital in an ambulance because I had like over 39 degrees Celsius of fever, and when I woke up in the morning, the headache was so bad that I couldn't really move. If I moved if I turned to my other side in the bed, the headache would just explode in my head, even like 10 times worse. So I had to just stay still and kind of keep the room dark and pray that something happens and it goes away. But seeing that it was so bad that wife had to call the ambulance. So yeah, that's why I couldn't coach last week. And the weirdest thing is that I spoke to my doctor today, who had no idea what I have, even now after like being sick for almost 3 weeks. He has no idea what's going on. It's just like, yeah, kind of like a virus, I think. So yeah, I'm just gonna call and go to showdown here. I like the turn check on that ace-9 hand, because we had like showdown value and kept a pretty wide range on this guy's hand. Since this fish called, of course I'm gonna chip in. and he shouldn't have that much or that many kings in his range. So just gonna go ahead and keep betting the fish bets. So let's just call. I don't think this John Snowdies has anything because the board is pretty draw heavy, and there's a fish, and we're three-way action. So if he had like a ace queen, he would have definitely c-bet the hand. This guy checks. Kind of want to check behind because I don't want to turn my hand into a bluff. Basically, the only reason this is a bit risky is if there's like a fourth heart and he happens to have like one heart on his hand. But the river is a blank card, and we're gonna go ahead and bet for value here. Yeah, let's just chip in here as well. Actually, that's a bit weird seeing this guy limp from under the gun. But yeah, it's four-way action, and it's his preflop race and VPIP is a bit distorted, I guess. So might not be the first time he does that. So for example, over here, the fish starts stealing with min raise. Even though it's the first time he steals like this from the button, I'm just gonna go ahead and raise from the small blind because I don't like calling that much. Well, I guess this spot where I go ahead and c-bet. Well, basically that's even not like a must c-bet spot, even though that's like a 3-bet. But since we hit the jack, I don't see like a reason that we must c-bet here, because basically the situation is the same. That if he folds, then we had him all along, and if he doesn't fold, then he probably has an ace. So even then, even in this situation, the c-bet is kind of a poor solution, I guess. Made a bit of a mistake there. So check calling would have been more optimal, I guess. Well, even though we managed to get some big blinds back on these two tables, well, in this table as well, I still think we made quite a bit of a downfall tonight, money-wise, since even before the coaching started, I lost like 50 euros here, the full stack, with my kings against the other dude's pair of tens. So a bit unlucky there, I guess, but that happens. It's part of poker, and it's been a bit of an unlucky month, all in all, with sickness and not being able to play, and when I have been able to play, I've had like a bit of a downswing. So unlucky for me, but shit happens. At least it's gonna be easier to improve on the next month. Let's just hope that I'm finally getting healthy so that I can get some volume in. Let's see, active session, refresh. Well, not as bad as I thought it would be. Money wise, only 47 euros down, almost 500 hands doing these 4 tables. But seeing, looking at the big blinds, actually the red curve is pretty weird because usually it doesn't go down like that with me. Usually it stays stays like really close to the zero line here. So maybe I played a bit weak as well, since it was like the first session in 2 weeks for me. But yeah, I see improvement at the end here. The red line is like evening out. And yeah, we've been a bit, well, basically if I hadn't lost kings versus tens, then we would have been almost €4 up. But looking at the big blinds, it's less than one buy-in down, so not bad, just normal variance. It's a variance heavy game, so you should just not focus on one session and just try and get tons of volume in and maybe look at the results after the whole month. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and take these auto post blind thingies off, and let's play until we end up leaving from all the tables. Really appreciate the questions you guys made. Great questions, and I like those questions that even those like very simple basic questions about poker. It's really important that you guys have the courage to ask those, because many people might watch the stream and think like, I want to ask this question, but I think it's like it's just so basic and foolish that people might laugh at me or something like that, which of course is not the case in our forums, where we just want to help as much as possible. So there is no dumb questions, basically. Yeah, my red line sucks on this session, but usually I actually have a problem with my red line being a bit too high and costing my blue line something. So I'm actually pretty happy that my playstyle has evened out a bit, or is trying to even out a bit. And maybe it's because I explained a lot during this session. I was talking all the time about some weird situation that I came up with in my head, or answering a question or something like that. So of course that affects my focus on the actual game, I guess. But yeah, all in all, I'm pretty happy about this session and about your questions. It's really important that we have guys who asks a lot of questions for those who's just silently watching as well. And I do apologize for my HUD, which is terrible for viewing, but on the other hand, I like it myself, or at least I've gotten used to it. So I find everything I need to find pretty quickly, and I have the explanation up over this side all the time, somewhere around here. So if someone wants to like study my HUD, it's possible. But on the other, because I've had some feedback about my HUD, telling me that it's terrible and it makes it impossible to learn basically anything. But on the other hand, whenever I use some kind of a statistics from my HUD, I usually point it out and even show it with my cursor here, that this guy has like a fold to c-bet of 60. So I say it out loud, and I even point it out on the actual HUD. So it's not needed for everyone who's watching to know my HUD in and out, or even pay any mind to my HUD, because I'm going to tell you what parts of the HUD I use in a specific situation. So for now, I'm gonna keep using it until I have the time and energy to do something about it, I guess. So that's it for tonight. I thank you all for watching, and so yeah, I have no idea when I'm gonna do the next English coaching. Hopefully pretty soon, I guess, because I enjoy these, and I enjoy speaking English and developing my English skills as well. Because yeah, you don't when English isn't your native language, you don't speak that too often, at least. So yeah, but thanks a lot for watching, and thanks for all those great questions. Uh, we're gonna see each other on the Finnish side probably uh, in next Tuesday at the same time. So feel free to come and watch me play, even if you don't understand anything I'm talking about. You can also come watch the Finnish coaching and ask something in English if you want. At least in my coachings you can. But yeah, it was Zanfess from pokerimania.com. Thanks for the company, and good night.